Yeah, chill squad, we locked in now. Kobe Hill, yeah, we riding. We'll keep turning. Money keep coming.
Is going on, guys? All right. We are just going to go through our watch list and kind of see what we have going on entering next week. This is what I do every Sunday. I have my dedicated watch list. I do add a few companies here and there if, they pique my interest, but typically I try to keep my watch list pretty much the same companies because if I can just focus on the same set of companies throughout instead of just hopping around just because the chart looks good, not just because the fundamentals of the company are also good, but like if somebody just says, "Oh, invest in this company," we'll do a little digging, right? I'm not going to just go ahead and buy blindly, even if the chart looks good, because any news comes out because of how poor the company is actually performing, will immediately tank the stock no matter what the chart says. Okay. So it's got to be a company I actually like. So I stick to that kind of watch list. And if a company can get added to that list, awesome. If it can't, then no worries. We'll just move on. So right now, the main ones is I'm kind of doing a little digging into quantum. Because the setups look really good and they had a massive rally last year around this same time frame, just like everything else did. But in general, it looks like they've had their big pullback and now they are ready to go to the next leg. What I like to see on Rigetti chart right here is this is the 50-day moving average, the purple line you see here. Okay, it respects it a lot. Like it shows great respect. I'm not going to get into these tiny numbers, but you can see on the big run up and then fell down right to the 50. Okay, came down, came back up, retested it, failed it. Came back up, tested it, failed it. Came back up, tested it, failed it. Finally broke through. Okay, came down, tested it, up, almost tested it, up, didn't fail, up, tested, and then broke out. Okay, and then we fast forward here. Looks like it went down, recaptured it, went back down, came up, rejected it. Okay, now we've actually broken through it and came back and landed right on top of it on Friday's close. So, based on the amount of respect it likes to show, okay, and not too many times has it actually broken and then failed the breakouts, right? Anytime it's failed it or crossed through and came back retested, it stayed there. Came back, broke it, retesting it, and it stays there. Came back, didn't break through, no false breakouts. Okay. This would be potentially the first false breakout if it does not hold and it does continue to go lower. We do have the big volume shelf down here at the bottom at 11s and 12s. Um, but your second biggest ones are going to sit right here at this 16-15 range, which we're currently sitting at. With a nice bounce higher, would put you right back to this 25. So I do like this Rigetti setup. Now I know Rigetti is probably not the best quantum stock out there, as they do burn a lot of cash, but they're not the bottom of the barrel by any means. I would say if you wanted the safest, it's quantum, it's all risk. But as far as the ones that are doing the best as far as the company goes, it'd probably be Ionic. If we take a look, a lot of these are going to look fairly similar. You can see it respects the 50 as well, just not as clean. You can kind of see some chop around it, but we have the breakthrough and then come down retest. So this one has a little bit further to go down to retest that 50. Um, but that would put us, let's see where that puts us. I mean, your golden Fibonacci lands you right perfectly at the 50. So that's what I would look for. Rigetti's already giving us that. QBTS, I think, is almost giving that. Yep, almost there as well. Rigetti. And then this one is the top pick for a lot of people right now, but it is still really new to the market. So there's not a whole lot of like back testing showing strength. We're not quite sure what it respects because it's only been trading since this year. or September of 2025. It's been less than a year. This has been trading. I prefer 2 years worth of trading data on charts for able to find, true consistent support resistance levels. You can see this was the support before it finally broke it and then fell through. So now we broke above this support resistance line and are trying to turn this to support. It looks like a good spot to grab. Understand that your 50-day moving average is 12. So if you did buy some and it did continue lower, you'd probably look to dollar cost average down right here at the 12. Okay. So these are the top ones I'm looking at for quantum plays. Rigetti leading it based on just like the chart backtest, buying it right here. Very little risk to reward, I think. A lot more reward. And if this is the pullback, then my target would be, let's see. Okay, we would want. All right, we'd be making a move now that 23 to 28, which this volume shelf here is going to land us right here at this resistance, right in the middle, with a high squeeze of 33. But really, I'd be looking to take my profits anywhere at this 28, 23 range and start looking to take some profits before a pullback happens. Obviously, play what the feeling and vibe is of the whole market. If we're going to continue higher, wars ending, whatever it may be, because then it can take off really fast, just like it did here and the previous times. But if I'm getting in, this is kind of where I'm looking to take my profits. Looking for a nice double up if we can get there, or close to a double up. Alrighty, that's what I got for quantum. Now I haven't taken a look really past that as far as ahead of this video. So let's go ahead and kind of dive in to see what we got. I'm going to start on the weekly because I'm still a little hesitant on getting into a couple companies. But the weeklies at least tell us a bigger picture. Okay. So we have Zeta. I'm going to zoom out here. Okay, good volume increasing. That's good to see. Because a lot of companies you'll see is that you get the buy alert and then you haven't seen volume really increasing. Um, so that's good to see. Um, let's see. Momentum, stochastic, weekly. Um, Software companies are just struggling right now, so I'm not a huge fan of getting into them, but others love Zeta. So if you are a Zeta fan, they have earnings in 4 days. Last earnings, I think, were pretty solid when it came to a pop, or I forget which one it was, but there was one earnings where it kind of took off, which was nice. I imagine that's going to kind of be the case this earnings for them again. Is going to be a nice little pop announcement contract. OpenAI, sorry, would be my guess. They've hinted at it. He says the CEO said he can't make a comment on it. Um, so I would hope that's not some sort of lead into like, just kidding, we have no communication with OpenAI. I doubt it. I think that it is a true possibility of them having connections with them. This is going, you're literally sitting at support and resistance right here. This is support, right? Bounced off of it, but now you can't seem to break it, so it's resistance at this current level. So if we can break that 18 level and turn that into resistance, you have a good move up, which is what you'd want to see. So you do need to get above that 18 and hold it. Now, path, I'm out on path currently until they can prove otherwise. But you can see we are currently at the bottom, but sorry. Oh. It needs to hold. Taking a look here, we have not crossed. We are not curling. We are not crossing there either. Curl, momentum, volume's increasing. Flow on the weekly is not green yet, and the monthly just flipped red. So the month is not over. Doesn't mean that it's going to end red, but if we do see this monthly flow also remain red, and we don't have this flipping green, and I don't love the curling on the monthly. I don't feel good about path right now. So, and they have earnings in 38 days, so that's a whole nother month out. So right now, not putting my money towards path. OSS has been on a tear. Don't need the weekly time frame for this. We got to stick to the daily time frame. We have a trim, curling, back test, volume. Looks like you're going to get an opportunity to buy this again. Right now it's in our trim. Looks like a bunch of consolidation needs to take place. We're kind of just filling out this. Let's see. Let's grab some lines here. Boo, boo, boo. Yeah, you can grab a channel. Don't need that one actually. Sorry, I got a new computer, new mouse, keyboard, everything, so it's all getting used to everything. Let's get a channel here. Wherever the channels are. There it is. Parallel channel. There you are. So you're either gonna bounce off of here, go here, but you're still in a downtrend. As you can see, the trend lines down. So you want to break above that trend channel. You want to continue to hold these. Sorry. With the momentum crossing to the downside. And let's see the weekly momentum. Crossing, rejecting. I would say that you want to wait till you get to the bottom of this trend channel. You're going to get another opportunity to buy somewhere down here. Probably right here on this support line again. 680. But that I great company, super small cap, 240 million. One contract gets announced, guys. This thing is off to the races all over again. Just like this was contracts, and now consolidation, waiting on another contract, 240 million. One contract, a $1 billion contract, right? 5 times this company. Like these are ones where you go ahead and grab a little bit and one contract gets announced and it changes your whole portfolio. So it doesn't take a lot to go a long way for these companies. Soundhound's one of our favorites right now. We have the buy alert in the previous week, and it continued to rally a little bit more the week that we just got done with. And as you can see, top or one touch, two touch, three touch, and we couldn't break it 4 touch. So we are looking to break this downtrend so that way we can battle this 50 moving average and this trend line. The real trend line is going to be trying to beat out this highs trend line. These are just all support and resistance trend lines. So we're going to go ahead and break through this, and then we're going to get somewhere up here in the 12s, 11, 12s, break through that, and look to get to the 18s and 19s. So just a few barriers to get through. But I would say that any opportunity presents itself back here in the mid 7s would be an opportunity to at least dollar cost average or to place a CSP or anything like that. Because anytime we have gotten weeklies, they have done very well to pay off in the long run. So go ahead. Soundhound looks like a decent one to go ahead and grab a position when a pullback next week of some sort, any red day, presents itself. BBAI, very speculative play. We got the buy alert. I am a fan of BBAI. They have earnings in 9 days. The problem I have with BBAI is they have not announced any really big government contracts. The CEO has tons of connections. The only reason I would invest in this company is because of the CEO himself having all the government connections that he has. If you guys don't know who the CEO is of BBAI, please do your research. Look who he. I'll just give you the hint. He was part of President Trump's last term's team as far as a lot of AI intelligence, a lot with Border Patrol, Coast Guard. He has all those connections. If BBAI can start landing these contracts, he has the connections in the government to get these contracts. But does BBAI have the product to connect the dots? So if he does, off to the races. BBAI will be your next Palantir. So that is why I keep it on my watch list. If that CEO wasn't there, I don't know if I'd really watch it. as soon as we can get a government contract announced, and I know BBI will take off 25%, but I will go ahead and buy it because it would be the start of the government contract series and not just airports. Okay, so that's why they stay on here. Now, data centers. Okay, there's obviously a huge demand for energy. Only certain ones have so much power to the grid power. Nibius being one, Iran being the other, Cipher being another, APLD, and Wolf. Those are the ones I watch. Wolf is kind of a newer one. It's already been on a run, so it's not like I'm super excited to get into this one right this second, but it's on the watch list. So that way, if any crazy sell off does happen and presents an opportunity, I'm there to catch it. But our biggest one right now is Iren that we hold and Cipher that we hold. Both of them had buy alerts on our weekly time frame. Iren had it last week or 2 weeks ago. Cipher had it 3 weeks ago when we were looking at it in the 13s and 12s. And then, sure enough, now we're at 18. Iran, we bought, I think our first buy was at like 36, and now we're at 50. We want to keep an eye on this one with a breakout or earnings. They've been teasing for since the last earnings, all the way up until this earnings, that there's some big contract, big announcement being made of a partnership of some sort, but there's no details. Now, there's a lot of speculations out there of what contract this could be, how much could it be worth. They say it's Anthropic. There's a bunch of rumors. We don't know what the. Let's just be honest. No one knows. What we do know is that there's something in the works. It's going to be a lot of money. They have a lot of, there's a lot of demand for what they have. So this could be a game changer to a portfolio. Data centers in general. Nibius has ran. Okay, Nibius is the leader currently of data centers. Um, but there's everyone floats up when the whole industry of data centers is increasing, or Nibius has proven that they are worth X amount, 37 billion. Okay, well, Iren's only 16 billion, and they were clearly already 76. So there's upside. Sorry, there's upside to data centers outside of Nibius. I think Nibius is still due for a little bit more of a pullback. As you can see, I have my pullback levels 138, 129, 119 is what I'm looking for. But as of right now, I'm going to stick to the lower cost ones because I can own a lot more, blah, blah, blah. Run covered calls, wheel strategy. So Iren and Cypher, APLD, I would say, and let's take a look, but I would say that a lot of these on the overvalued side. So 63 is not bad for APLD. 63 also for Iren on the RSI. And 57 on Cypher, which is the cross. So I do expect a nice pullback to 17. This is what I'm looking for because I have covered calls on Cypher and I have covered calls on Iren. Okay, Iren's the one that worries me a little bit more about my covered calls. I make money, not worried about it. I just get right back into it. It's not the end of the world. But I do see volume decreasing, curling. So I expect a pullback. Oh gosh. Didn't realize how tired I was until I started recording it. I'm just a real human, guys. I'm not some fake person trying to put on a show. Just kind of looking at charts, talking with you guys. That's the fun part about our community and our group. We're just real people, just trying to make it out there in the big world. So I'm a huge fan of Iran. I wouldn't mind a pullback as much as I'd love for it to just take off and just go. Um, I think it does need a pullback once more, and then it can take off. So we'll see. But data centers, I would say, are the next big ones to run. Here you can see the majority touch, touch, touch. When I draw trend lines, guys, I prefer 3 touches minimum. Okay, so if I can get 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, 5 touch, 6 touch, 7 touch, and then 8 touch, right? This is a very strong trend line to follow. So if we get any sort of back test and touch this trend line, it's a buying opportunity. Okay. Alrighty, so we have drone batteries. Drones are kind of taking a little bit of a breather at this current moment, but we've done very well with this name. Okay. I got no complaints with this name whatsoever. When kind of going over the charts, anytime we've gotten the buys, sells, and buys, they've led to great opportunities. Obviously, this one has had some run already compared to other things in the market. So this one I would like to see a little bit of a pullback. Let's take a look at our pullback levels here. So golden Fibonacci pullback, you're looking at basically 18, I will say. And if you're looking for kind of a back test, you're looking at 1875, I would say. 1867 would be the number the fib pulls up, but obviously I don't just risk perfect numbers. I just gonna get in, so I'll put it at 1875. Look to get in on the back test of this breakout and then continue higher. Same thing it did, right? It went higher, came down, look it, touched the back test. Okay. So top of the back test is going to be this 1965 and then 1867. So anywhere in this range, 1965 to 1865, you are a good adding opportunity. You want it to come down here, and then you want to see the momentum pick back up and flip bullish. Okay. So that's what we'd be looking for. AMPX drone batteries, huge. Every drone that we need and destroy needs a battery. And drones are really like a lot of them. There's some that are trying to be manufactured for one way. So basically, we send the drone. It's like I don't want to say the terminology, but is what it is. Basically, just like it's a suicide drone. It freaking goes there. It's only going there for one thing and one thing only, and that's to blow itself up. Okay. So there's a battery in that thing. Therefore, we just blew up a battery. AMPX is making longer lasting, more energy efficient batteries for drones. So AMPX. Orla mining. This is a great one if you're into the mining world. So right here, I'll just get rid of that 50-day moving average. Okay. Um, you can see clearly it's done very well adding and buying and kind of bouncing off of these. So Orla on the next one will be a good one to get into that we didn't get into on this last one as we were playing some other ones, but Orla's been doing very well. We'll go ahead and play that one. I don't like this head and shoulders, to be honest. Yeah, it's got more room to fall. Boom, boom. Bad weekly. So careful of that, but I would say there's other plays out there. I would want it to get more undervalued like this opportunity. Yellow candles. FLNC, this is a top one for us going into the following couple weeks. I'm waiting on the weekly time frame for this one. As you can see, we are curling. We're still not super undervalued, but 43 would be our weekly. White line is almost back under this green, which is what we look for. The MACD lines are not back under significantly like it was last time. See how like under the zero line it is. We're not there yet. Flow has not increased, decreasing only. So yeah, I'm still waiting. This is going to be the weekly time frame. It takes a minute to kind of come up. Sometimes we don't get the bottom. That's fine. There's plenty of room. Like I didn't time this one right. 345. I bought somewhere in the fives. I don't think you're going to complain when it goes all the way up. Okay. So stop worrying about timing the bottom. Just go ahead and buy when the signal tells us to buy. Okay. SMR, nuclear. We're pretty big into nuclear right now. SMR is probably our favorite pick. Oklo is going to be the one that leads the charge as they are probably the top hyped one going into it. SMR, like same way like Nibius is the leader of data centers, these ones will float up with it. Oklo will be the leader of nuclear, and then SMR will follow behind it. Earnings in 11 days. They don't do too well on earnings as this is going to be more like a couple years down the road, nuclear energy. So right now, though, we came up. We're currently sitting at the support resistance. You can see we clearly bounce off of this as support in the past. We're currently sitting below it, kind of rejecting this area, breaking through. So this is, I think, a great area. This is kind of where we're looking to kind of go long and just buy some, let time happen. We have, I think, January options. Again, none of this is financial advice, but you can see it right there in the, where's the, right there. Not financial. Whoa, don't zoom in on me like that. Come on. How do I do it? There it is. Cool. L for loser. Anyway, so SMR is a top play for us. I like it a lot. Um, I haven't really drawn too many lines on this chart, so we can. But as far as the weekly goes, momentum breakout, curling happening on the MACD, crossed happened last week. Perfect. Volume increasing, flow increasing, curling. Value is probably breaking out to retest it. Um, does that quite often when it comes down to this stuff. So looks good to me. So I'm going to stick with that one. Adur is a big one for us, guys. You can see that this is betting on a big breakout here. We have weekly flow increasing. This is crossing or curling. We do have the RSI cross. Stochastic is starting to curl. Momentum crossed. So it does look like a decent time. Any sort of pullback opportunity to go ahead and start maybe adding to your position. This looks very similar to Cypher's chart. If you take a look before that big kind of move, right, you have this big up and then chop, chop, chop down. We get this add and we look to break out. Okay, so if we go back to Adur, we have the big up and then we have the chop, chop, chop. Here's your add, and then we should look to break. Okay, so Adur, pretty good one. They are looking to turn trash, which the world has plenty of it, into clean energy for us to use, to live off of. We generate enough trash. If we can turn that trash into something more positive for the world, that would be the mission. I would say that could save a lot of things in the world, not just the whole energy issue, but the trash the size of Texas in the world would be a huge fuel source that we can get rid of and produce it into something more beneficial to the world. So, Adur, if you believe in that kind of mission in the world, that should be on your watch list. Okay. TE Energy, solar energy play. um, yeah, it's been a great company. Looking for the weekly time frames. Let's see if our weekly momentum. Yeah, we still look like we have a little bit of time. Still decreasing in volume. Our MACD is not below the 0 line. RSI is still trending down. Stochastic still trending down. This one's just not ready on the weekly time frame. Now on the daily time frame, we've had a few plays come in, but it's still overall in the downtrend. Okay. Rare earths, and I probably should move Orla to rare earths, to be honest. So MP is a big one. Same thing. You guys can see it. Bull flag. Look at pull, chop, 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 add, and off to the races. We got that last week. We can see the curling, the volume increasing, the flow on the weekly, boom, boom, boom. Everything told us, yep, last week was the week to go ahead and add some. Doesn't look like it's crazy, right? The wick of last week still was higher than the current price today, so it's not a terrible price to add. But if any pullback presents itself under 60, it's just funny that it lands right on 60. There's a mental, number that all humans have. It's usually tens and fives. I want to buy it for 60. I want to buy it for 55. No one says I want to buy it for 57.88, right? They always want the whole numbers. So it's right on that 60. Let's take a look on the daily time frame and see if we expect a pullback. Yep. I would expect that you get a little bit of a pullback. Sorry. So if we go to our Fibonacci's, I would expect you to have a full pullback of 59.82. Could slightly just dip right under that 60. To get a list of all the pullback levels, here's your full list of pullback levels. Okay. Golden Fibonacci is the one we ideally look to add on, but sometimes they get cut short. Right here, there's a big chunk of support and resistance now, right? So anything between that basically 55 to 60 range looks like a good opportunity to go ahead and start adding. And then if you were given a better opportunity, obviously dollar cost average down. Okay. Again, none of it's financial advice, but just looking at charts and seeing what I see and kind of how I interpret everything. Okay. You. All right. We've played this one in the past. We've it's done very well. You can see that it's clearly following this trend line, and then it was in the downtrend. It broke out. Boom. Okay. Same thing. Same trend line. This long this way, and then downtrend and broke out. Boom. It's probably going to come down and retest. That's going to be your next opportunity to add. As soon as it loses that trend line, though, you're out. Okay. I don't think it's going to lose that trend line right this second or anytime soon for that matter. But I do think this is going to be rare earths. It's going to be the topic of the market again once the whole war situation is kind of over. So TMC, fairly similar. I think we just got the weekly. Yep, weekly. Let's go take a look and see what everything kind of looks like here. So flow is increasing, volume's increasing, it's crossing. Don't see a cross there yet. Cross here. This is going to be interesting. I'm curious on how next week kind of opens up. But I do believe company price target maintained an $8 price target, which is awesome. 17 days for earnings. I don't know how they've done in the past. So clearly good. Earnings, dip, and then up. Earnings, dip, and then up. And then earnings, dip, and then up would be my assumption based on everything was a dip and then up. So, but weekly time frames have done very well for us in the past. So this would probably be a good point to start a position. It's only a 2 billion market cap. Don't need to put a whole lot towards it. Again, smaller the market cap, less money that should go towards them as they are more risky in the market. We went over Orla already. Here are your drones. Okay. Take a look here. Alrighty. All right. Let's go to weird. Alrighty. So we got our cat here. Curling, bearish. Nope, not into our cat. ONDS. ONDS is the one that, there's a lot of hype around. This one has the momentum back on its side for the weekly time frame. That's good to see. Volume is still decreasing. Flow is slightly increasing. I got a lot of mixed signals. Now, I know a lot of people are bullish on the company. I'm bullish on the company long term. But it's when it's just not as clean, like I see mixed signals happening, it's not something I'm super confident in getting into. Now, I own some and I have covered calls on some, so I don't care what really happens, right? But I to start a position without clear like signals, right? This MACD is at the top. We're still technically at 57 on the RSI on the weekly time frame. That's considered overvalued. Crossing, cool. Just not tons of clear signals. Alrighty, so ONDS mixed signals as far as weekly time frame goes. Now, when I look at the daily time frame, we have a breakdown on momentum turning red, slight curling, some plateauing happening. So, if we were to see anything, it would probably become, 12. But it still just doesn't seem like it's quite ready. We're going to sit here, consolidate, maybe slowly move up, but nothing crazy. These are my targets I'm really looking for. But we need kind of weekly time frame to be all together on it. These other drone ones I don't really actually pay attention to, but they are have to do with the Trump family and them getting into the drones. They took over a construction company and a golf company, turn them into drone companies. So that's what those two are. As soon as maybe we see some activity as far as government contracts come into play, might be something we throw some money towards. So that's why I just keep an eye on them. Always good to keep an eye on whatever the guy who controls where all the money kind of goes is involved in. So that way, if we do see money start flowing that way, we can go ahead and enjoy that ride too. Space sector. Okay. So we're currently in Redwire. It's still my favorite looking chart out of all space goes. We have a CSP on it. We own some shares on it. And space has been, while everything else was pulling back. Space was not pulling back as much. They were really kind of handling the noise of the market fairly well compared to other companies. So for me, you know, um, you can see daily time frame, Rocket Lab, going to come down. Okay. We got curling action, we got crossed, we got curling, crossed, volume decreasing. So doesn't look great on the daily time frame. Now on the weekly time frame, okay, we do have curling, you have volume increasing. This is why I think that it's coming, but it's not quite like you pretty much completed that cup, which is good. So now we're gonna complete a handle, a nice long drawdown, I guess. Um, So I'm not a huge fan right this second on space, but I do think that you're going to get an opportunity in Rocket Lab. ASTS really lost vertical or the trend line support here, but you still have this long consolidation period happening right here. Support or resistance, 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 and then support, support, and now we're here again, battling the same thing. So we could see this kind of hold. I hope we do, because I would hate to see. I mean, I'd love to see it because I don't own it, but I would hate to see it draw back down too far. I want to keep this kind of momentum and head to our top targets. Um, then we got Lunar's been on a crazy run, momentum dying off. Let's see what the weekly looks like here. Still somewhat holding, but again, Lunar's been the one that's been kind of front running as far as just staying at all-time highs, so it's not something I'm really interested in. Now, Redwire is the one I'm more interested in. As you see, we got our ad, so we went ahead and added. And then we did a CSP to try to buy it for cheaper, if we get the opportunity to. Now, you can see momentum, boom, curl, volume, kind of mixed signals here. So we're going to see daily time frame. I do expect the pullback. Sorry. Do expect the pullback. Sat L obviously with a big run up, and then we had our sell signal. We still have curling on the weekly time frame, our daily time frame. Weekly time frame is still remaining bullish, but getting fairly extended here. That's why it does need to do this pullback. Come down, probably going to come down, I would say, to like this 550 range. Try to line up kind of the top of this with the meat of the support and action price action here. 575, 550. It's gonna be right there. Then you have Sadu, which has been on a tear and then now pulling back. Okay. What do we got? Daily time frame, down, 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 down. So you can stay on the daily time frame on that one. Weekly time frame, still got some more room to pull back. So I'll just stick to the daily. Wait for it to give you the next ad signal. Fintech, as you guys know, big week going into earnings this week with Robinhood having earnings and SoFi. Oh, oh man, tired. I'm a real person, guys. Exhausted. Long weekend, long day. Um, Robinhood and SoFi charts are exactly the same. I think they're just in the middle of the pullback. Probably going to have the pullback finish out Monday, Tuesday. One of those days is going to give you that opportunity. It'll come down and touch 78 maybe, and then go higher. Same thing, SoFi, pull back. I hope we fill the gap at 17. Oh, so sorry. Jeez Louise. I hope we pull back to 17, fill the gap. There is a gap there. If we go to the regular candles, right? Here's this little gap here. I hope we can fill that gap before going higher. If we do, I will be before earnings. If we get 17 filled, I will be adding to our position. If we don't have it filled before earnings, I'm not adding. I'm just gonna have what I have. Um, oops. Um, just because that gap fill can happen on earnings day. Maybe in the pre-market, whatever it may be, maybe the second the market opens, it dips, flash crash down to 17 and then pops back up. Whatever it may be, there's a gap to be filled. And based on kind of down, 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 volume down. I would assume that it's going to be the next 2 days we'll be able to get that gap fill. I hope. And I own it, guys. I'm bullish on the company, but I still want the opportunity of one last one before earnings. Okay. It's all temporary. Long-term mindset, guys. I don't care what it does tomorrow. I care what it does 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now. And I hope that it's way higher than it is today. So that's why I don't stress about what today's number looks like. Plus, we can make money on it today. Run a covered call, do something, right? PGY, as we know, we got that weekly time frame diamond. Still curling, back testing on the RSI. The MACD is crossing, volumes increasing, flows increasing. Good to go. We had covered calls, we uncovered our covered calls, and we are now ready to rock and roll. Alrighty. TEM, just in the healthcare, cross, curled, boom, boom, boom. Looks good to me. So this is why I like the weekly time frame. Pretty straightforward. Go ahead and buy, hold for whatever noise. NVO. I'm waiting on the monthly time frame to cross. Now we are getting the curling, but our volume is not there. Okay, still hasn't crossed. Still waiting. Still waiting. So it is getting closer to NVO's moment to finally start a position, but it's not there yet. Hims. Okay. Monthly time frame. No, we're on the weekly time frame. There we go. Crossing, going, crossing, increasing. My favorite play. Okay. We're in it. We're here. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's take off. You know, we're here for it. I think we go to 40. You can see that it's this resistance, 40, 41. You can see that this is the resistance line. You can see that we came up and touched it that week, fell back down that week, right? So there's plenty of trying to, break back above. It was resistance, support. So I think we go to 40, and then I think we fall back down to 30. 32 really is what I think. So I think it goes 40, 41, then 32, then back up to this 60 range. Okay. ZVRA. We've been in this one, talked about this one a lot. It's been one of the ones that's been kind of consolidating long period of time, even during this whole like bear market, December, January, February. I mean, it really hasn't moved a whole lot. It stayed strong during this. It really comes down to their results as a company. When you're in therapeutics, it's going to come down to results. So if they can go ahead and perform, this is just the top one. Same thing with ABCL. Okay, we were in this little wedge. Now we're breaking out. Okay. So then if you wanted to play this one, you would just kind of sit here, wait. I mean, I'd want to pull back down here again, but the big one for me, guys, I'm gonna jump to a couple. Okay. Oscar. Okay. I don't know. I think what's going to happen is, like I said, this week with all the macros, we're going to have a pullback this week. I ultimately think that's going to be the case. Um, with some of the stocks being outliers, of course, because they have bullish news or earnings or whatever it may be. But overall, I do think we have a pullback. This one has earnings in 10 days, so this would be the time to have the pullback before we go into earnings the following week for Oscar. Based on the weekly time frame, everything looks good. Now, momentum has clearly come up to the top of here and typically just doesn't keep going. It needs to pull back some, and then it's going to go higher. So that's why I think Oscar is going to be in for a pullback this week. Take a look at the daily. Curling. Okay. Curling. This will curl, volume decreasing. So I think Oscar is going to go ahead and have a pullback. You're going to be able to do a CSP, do anything you got. I got covered calls on this one. This pullback is going to be the moment for me to go ahead and close that covered call. I hope. I've had a 17 covered call on it for 2 weeks now. Oscar's been toying with me. It went over 17. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Not that I was nervous really, but I was like, oh man, I could totally see this thing taking off. But I stuck to our game plan. It became overvalued as far as the RSI got close to 70, went to a 30 delta, called it a day. So now I think that we will get this pullback, and then I'll be able to close that covered call, which is awesome. Okay, the one that's really dragging my portfolio down, guys, is Archer. And it doesn't. I'm not nervous about the company whatsoever. But it's just annoying. Okay. You've just been waiting for this company to freaking take off, and it's not. Which is, it's fine. But I really would like to reallocate my money if you're really going to take extra time to do this. But we finally broke out of this downtrend. Okay. Do-do-do. We're off. Okay. We're currently still sitting on support. Now, this support was lost. This was the next leg down, was that $4. So I want to keep that line in check. Here we are, fighting this resistance level right here. We got to break above the $7 range before we can really start trying to make our way to 9 and then back up to 12, 14. But we do have our weekly down here on a key support level trend line, so we're good to kind of go. Weekly curling, back test, basically curling, flow increasing. I would like to see volume go green this week to really give me a feel good about going into earnings. But I hope they have their defensive vehicle with Endurl ready to rock and roll because we need it. Love the company. They have great partners. Palantir, NVIDIA, Endurl, and Starlink. Those are four major names. Four major names. Four big players. Four guys with big money, all involved with Archer. So I am pretty stoked about that one. As soon as they need to start releasing some news. It's been very quiet. Haven't heard anyone talk about them in a long time. Navitas, guys, huge win for our group. Huge win. I don't know if you guys remember, but we've been talking about it. It's been telling you buy, add. Like, name your opportunity, but you were given plenty of them. Okay. So now you're off to the races. Rivian, pretty similar. Buy. Came up here, get your trim. Okay. Just curling, back testing. I think overall on the weekly time frame, you're fairly bullish. Yep, curling, coming back test it, curling, flow's good. So yeah, overall, I think Rivian, you're in a good spot. GRR is the one I've been thinking about getting into. I thought we'd have a little bit better of a retest. I think this actually retested. It's year-to-date VWAP, I think is what it retested. Let's see, show year-to-date VWAP. Yep, came right down to the year-to-date VWAP and it's holding it. So this might be one next week we do look into, but the daily time frame kind of curling down, curling volume decreasing. So I think we still have a moment in time. Okay. Since it is super undervalued, you should still get a daily diamond. And that's going to be the daily diamond we follow. Okay. But we did get our weekly. We broke out of this big old wedge. So now this is what we're looking for. So I'm going to pay attention to the daily time frame on this one. Enduro companies, again, if you wanted to throw $500 at something, and just, let that thing sit there for however long. We had the weekly diamond last week, crossing with some momentum. What you want to focus on now is the daily momentum's currently down, increase. So little mixed bag. I don't know. You can get anywhere between this 36 and 33, 34. You can go ahead, throw $500. Market cap's 84 million, guys. One contract can send this thing, and turn your $500 into a couple grand. So that's one we can look to add to your portfolio. Kraken, it's been great. These things have been on huge runs, so it's something I'm more waiting for the bigger pullback to come into play. Does look like we have some momentum picking up on LTRX. OPTX has had momentum, been running, and been running. So nothing I'm willing to risk additional money onto, but these lower caps are really tough because they can continue to run, and it's something that I have not been comfortable just kind of throwing money at and hoping they continue to go up. I rather wait for them to do what they're going to do, wait for them to pull back, wait for us to get our diamonds, our next opportunity now that it's on our watch list. Every company comes back, every company pulls back. It's okay. give it a second, you'll have it. That's why I have a list the size that I do, is because I want to be able to watch as many things, but also I know most things on these companies here. Um, and when data centers are running and we make our money, we look for something on our list like financials that haven't run yet and rotate the money down. There's always a rotation to be made. Like space was up like crazy, took our wins on space, threw it into SoFi, threw it into HIMS, right? Throwing it into other companies that are undervalued. So when those companies are running, just know that you're going to be able to take your profits, rotate them to something that is undervalued. When your undervalued becomes overvalued, take those wins and then put them probably back into the company you first pulled, because that's now pulled back and you can go ahead and put it in there and now it's more undervalued. So we always want to keep money rotating, especially in different sectors. And that's what I got for you guys looking at our watch list. Next week is going to be a fun week. Just remember, red days are just better opportunities to build your wealth even greater than it is and had the opportunity the day before. Keep that mindset positive. I appreciate you guys in the community, and I will see you guys there. Thanks.
Yeah, chill squad, we locked in now. Kobe Hill, yeah, we riding. We'll keep turning. Money keep coming.